Hello everybody, this is Josh Bycer from GameWisdom.com. Welcome to today's Critical Thought, and boy, do I have a doozy. This is talking about game reviewing. Sort of a look at the profession and my problems with the state of modern game reviewers. This is in relation to my post, The Failings of Game Reviewers, which you should be seeing in annotation one of these two directions over there. Anyway, this has been a post I'm sure will either rise me up in terms of public perception or drag me down. It's something I've been thinking about for a long time, and my prop over there I think is the perfect one for this. And that is my very first magazine that I read for reviewing, and that is Nintendo Power. Obviously not this one. I'm talking about, I think I came in around like issue 3, issue 4, something like that. And by the way, even though as I'm going to prop this back up, there's a good chance it will fall down over the course of this video. Anyway, I wanted to talk about Nintendo Power because as the video game industry has grown and evolved and has opened its doors, not just for game developers, but also for reviewers, the barrier of entry has just dropped drastically over the last 10 years. And I should know, I started my blog in 2007. And if there wasn't the ability to do that, we wouldn't be talking here today. But my problem, though, with the state of modern game reviewing, especially with sort of the rise of the YouTuber generation, is how there really aren't any standards for what you would call a game reviewer. Right now, I bet if you type in any big name video game, you're going to find countless videos of people making like faces like this. And see these like weird faces, which hopefully you two buddy will actually get my thumbnail working, so you won't see me doing that as the thumbnail for this one. But the problem is that there is no standards or qualifications that you can use to consider someone a game reviewer. And because of that, it pretty much lumps everyone in the same exact way. So you have like people like me and stuff sort of like, I would say like, I've seen stuff like Mr. Odd or Christopher Odd, Flash of Steel, and places that do delve into critical thought on game design, next to people who I won't name, obviously. I don't want to suffer that wrath, but you know who I'm talking about. The people who scream about video games, who pretty much their criticisms amount to, this game sucks, or this game's awesome, and that's it. There's usually like funny faces and weird little skits and gimmicks that go along with that. As I said in my post, there is literally no way I can talk about this without sounding elite or elitist, so I figure if I'm going to ring that bell, I'm going to ring it. And maybe this should be my opening introduction to this channel for new users. Because I've been doing this for more than 3 years. Over that time, I've done things unique that a lot of other YouTubers and even a lot of other quote-unquote professional reviewers don't do. Besides critically examining video games, I talk a lot about the philosophical and analytical side of game design. Stuff like what goes into replayability, why are some controls better than others, what is the state of the indie market, and so on. With my with my interviews, I've been interviewing guests all over the game industry for the last 3 years and worldwide. I've had guests as far as Australia, Malaysia, Chile, Croatia with Crow Team. And these aren't just PR stunts. You'll never see me be the quote-unquote PR journalist just talking about, is your game going to be good? What's the hottest character? Stuff like that. We have deep discussions on games. Stuff like John Schaefer used to do on his podcast before he had to stop doing it. And these are discussions that I think are not only important, but there needs to be more of. Whenever I talk to game developers after the podcast is over, they always compliment the podcast because they never really have the chance or the outlet to talk about game design and development in this fashion. There's no, loud music. We're not, just smiling nice for the camera. There's no PR guy over our shoulders. This is just two people having a discussion about a profession that there really isn't a lot of information on. And that's the kind of discourse that I want to see grow with the game industry and specifically with game reviewers. More of stuff like extra credits is another really good example. And that's why pretty much that's the goal of Game Wisdom. Not just the channel here, but of course the site and the podcast, etc. Is to open up this level of discourse and discuss topics about the game industry and design that you really don't see. In Nintendo Power, like around I think the last year before they went out, they had a really good section where they did developer spotlights, where they actually gave a chance for developers to come on and share their thoughts. And while it was still under the magazine, this was one of those rare chances where I saw a developer pretty much given the freedom to talk about whatever they wanted and what they thought of the industry. And again, these are topics which we really don't hear about. And more importantly, these are topics that students and people interested about the industry should really have an outlet and a source of information for. And the problem is when you have so many of these game reviewers, either on YouTube here or on a lot of sites, you never know, the quality of that reviewer or their credibility. And from my posts, I know a lot of people will come quickly to defend that it is entertainment. These people are just trying to make a living, but there is a consequence to this. And this is another thing about Game Wisdom that I'm one of the few people who are privy to talking to game developers about. And that is the issues of discoverability with their games. For every game you see a major name like Markiplier or PewDiePie or anyone else you follow cover, there are dozens more who are having incredible trouble trying to get their name out. Not just on Steam, but even among YouTubers. As the pool or the allure of YouTubers has really grown and has given them a lot of power. I've talked to developers who say that if it wasn't for Total Biscuit, their game may not have succeeded. And this is one of the things that's very troubling, is that when there is no standard, you're kind of throwing your game out into the wild and hoping, to get a nibble. And then there are the cases of some YouTubers basically charging to spotlight a game on their channel. And that is a very tricky topic, and I'm afraid it's one that's too big for this post, or I'm sorry, for this video. But it is something that I may want to come back to, maybe in another critical thought soon. But the point is, as a game developer, there are a lot of things stacked against you. And even if you make a really great game, there is no guarantee that it will get covered. Unless you get lucky and, hit that the fireworks show or the explosion of PR like The Darkest Dungeon, Stardew Valley, or Undertale. But for a lot of people, it's just they throw their game out and then 2 to 3 years of work, or even maybe less or more, is gone because no one was able to review or no one even knew about it. And that's one of the things I think is really great about doing the YouTube channel over this last year, is being able to show off more games than I could with just GameWisdom.com. And as I said in my posts, any indie developers watching this video, if you're looking for a place that wants to cover unique games and wants to try and give them a spotlight, please get in touch with me. Send me a message here. Post on Game Wisdom. Email me at josh@game-wisdom.com. I'd love to talk to you. It's the whole reason why I love doing these podcasts, is I love talking game design and the thinking that goes behind it. Things that aren't really covered by anywhere else. Even sites that try to quote unquote be like these high thinking critical analysis places, they still have trouble delving into these issues. And that raises a very interesting topic. Should there be standards for what you should expect from a game reviewer? Should we, have an official, seal of quality we could put on channels or something? I think there should be standards, but again, it's one of those things that just because I say it, it doesn't really mean much. We need everyone to agree. And I don't know if that's really going to happen. So, with all that said, what do you think? For those of you who grew up with the YouTube generation, who are YouTubers, or who watch these reviews, what do you think about the state of game reviewing these days? And even moving further, what do you think about written reviews? I made my post about 7 to 9 review scores and how much I hate them. And what do you think about that? the art or the business of game reviewing due for a major shakeup? I don't know. I think as game design has evolved, so should game reviews and the standards we hold game reviewers to. And I could sit here and talk for another 20, 30 minutes on it. I may be doing a double cast on this real soon with James from Game Wisdom, and we'll talk a little bit more about this. Sort of like my quote unquote grizzled vet versus his newcomer, basically coming more from the consumer enthusiast side. But this is one of those topics it's not going to go away, and I think we need to have more discussions on. But that's going to do it for today's Critical Thought. Thanks so much for watching. I'm going to switch back over to my announcement now. As always, if you enjoy these Critical Thoughts, be sure to leave a comment and, of course, like and subscribe to the channel. It always helps out. Check out game-wisdom.com, where I examine the art and science of games, especially recently with game reviewers. You can follow me on Twitch and Twitter under GW Bycer for the latest updates of new content. And if you enjoy what I'm doing, please check out my Patreon campaign. You can find me on Patreon under Game Wisdom. Donations would be greatly appreciated, as they will allow me to keep doing what I'm doing while supporting myself. If we can hit those goals, it will mean that I can start growing and adding more great content for you folks to enjoy. And we have some great new rewards up to basically get you in on the act of what we do here at Game Wisdom. So that's going to be today's Critical Thought. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all tomorrow with another one. Take care.